situation, okay? And then something is gonna happen every week, okay? Now, um, is everything okay at this time, Stacy D?
With what?
You know they just missed you doing something right before we started the show again.
Again.
You almost got busted again. Okay. The question of the day today is divided along political lines. Should I remain friends with someone that I now view as a racist or supporter of racist views or perspectives? Okay, so we have that coming up later on the show. Stacy D, how's everything going in your world?
I've been really, really struggling with my check-in for this week. I'm just gonna give a little tiblet because JP loves for me to like get really real. And I really do be real, but some things I don't like to share because, my life can be like really crazy. So I'm gonna start this with when I was a young teenager, my mother used to tell
I'm
me,
Stacy
huh,
D, I'm so sorry.
what's wrong?
Um, we're having some type of technical difficulties. Like we can't be. Someone is saying that we can't be seen. I'm getting a message that we can't be seen. Okay, never mind. It's taken care of now. Go ahead. Remote broadcasting. Okay,
I got
Mr. Walker
my
already
stuff
took
is
care of it.
LG and Dell, so it's some good. I have good stuff. So it's the broadband or the wire. Hey,
It's Mr. Walker.
told you.
It's Mr. Okay, go ahead, Stacy D.
Okay, so when I was a teenager, my mom used to always like really, really be on me about young stupid girls grow up to be young stupid women. She used to really be on me about that. I'm like, what the hell is she talking about? And it comes to show that it happens. Like I was in the midst of a little tiff this weekend because someone lied on me to try to get their answer across. So they just told her a straight out lie, and it got really, really nasty. It got really nasty. And and I was just thinking about if this was 15, 20 years ago, I probably would have went on and knocked at somebody's door. Now I would have kicked somebody's door in and dragged them out the house and beat them down.
I'm
And I
like,
just think how God has really taken me from that. But what's my favorite saying? I am still on the assembly line and they get recalls. And as much as I was really trying to be humble and stay into my spirit, they just kept on coming after me. And then when I did that, because they wouldn't answer the phone and they wouldn't give me their address, but I gave them my address and told them to come on over here. Uh, but when I did that last text about you really talking big, like you want to do something to me, it's time. Let's go and roll up.
I am glad that because
I didn't get any more
last
text.
last week on the show we talked about um Stacy D and the current refined Stacy D compared to Stacy D back in the day. I'm glad you just kept it totally real, because at first you talking about back in the day I would have knocked on somebody's door. What? Who is that? That don't sound like no Stacy D to me. You would have kicked in the door. See, that sounds like Stacy D from back in the day.
I would have kicked the door in.
Okay. Now the way these things are handled is if someone has lied, you need to figure out if it is libel or slander, hire an attorney and sue. That's how we handle lies today.
They really don't understand. I
Okay.
keep a lawyer on retainer with my businesses, okay?
Right. The days of you don't have to kick in doors anymore. You kick in courtroom doors.
Courtroom doors, exactly.
So, um, people, anybody listening out there, please be careful what you say about Stacy D. It better be true. Because if it's not, we thinking we thinking libel, we're thinking slander, we're thinking attorneys, we're thinking courtrooms, we're thinking settlements.
And these
That's
are
how
old
lies are
things,
handled.
almost 50 years old. It just should not have gotten that far. And even when I was trying, I even apologized and didn't even do nothing wrong. I was really trying to be the bigger person. And that's what I understand what my mom was telling me about young, stupid girls grow up to be old, stupid women. Because at this age, it really shouldn't have even got this far behind some children stuff.
Yeah, here's the thing. If what was said in any way, if it got out and spread and it could damage your professional reputation,
And that's what
and
people
Stacy V, you know you got multiple professions, okay? You're gonna be affected in some way.
some
If
type
it could,
exactly
yes, if it could
assassinate
affect,
personality. Yes, yes.
call the attorney. Call the attorney.
One of my old school friends, Gail Vaughn, said, "Stacy, please don't kick in no more doors." They remember.
I'm glad you monitored the Facebook comments.
Hey,
Yes, but nowadays we get paid when people lie.
they
That's
don't understand
we get
that.
paid. And I got student loans, so lie on me, we going to court, okay? Because the student loans got to be paid. Okay. Last week, you are aware because I was talking to you on the phone when I went and got my first COVID vaccination shot, rolled in quick. Okay. Anybody listening, if you are in Kansas, they have made this process real quick, smooth, and simple. I'm talking like I drove 15 minutes from my house, rolled in there, and rolled right back out. Okay. But the problem is the vaccination had me, I dang near lost my mind. Like
Why did you lose your mind?
what?
Why did you lose your mind?
I was acting like I was set free from jail.
Superman.
I was Superman.
1887. It's 1887 when they set us free.
I was running the streets like the vaccine had gave me superpowers, like I was fresh out of jail. And the Lord gave me a quick wake-up call because within the next couple of days, news stories coming out about the variants, okay? And, for those of you listening, variants is like, it's like how a virus evolves into something. It's determined you're not going to kill it off. So it evolves into something that the vaccines will not protect you against. So news stories coming out about the variants and news stories coming out about Johnson and Johnson. And I was like, I had to take my butt back home.
We were set free in 1864. So you well,
why am I back in this house?
On Friday with the vaccination. Yes. And
well, I'm not gonna act like my house is the plantation from back in the day, but I had to settle down. Like, why are you running the streets like you free? And here's something.
About to go to Cheesecake Factory.
Was I not ready to roll up? And the Cheesecake Factory was crowded. I didn't care. I was like, what? I've got a shot in me. Where is the cheesecake? Them news stories was coming across my phone so dead gum fast. I said, it's clearly time to go back home. This is, it makes me wonder. I wonder if this could become a way of life permanently. Like if this virus, if there's always going to be new variations of the virus, and there has to be more vaccines, it made me think about those movies where, a virus took out mankind. Like, is this gonna last forever? Am I
Mm.
gonna be holed up in this house
Been a year
forever?
so far. A year plus so far.
This could last forever. Anyway, I'm back at home. I'm done running the streets. Okay. It's time for mental health and illness in the news.
News.
Stacy D,
Now, what you have, Gerald? Because y'all
you know
know,
I got something.
listen, because y'all know Gerald have 5.
I got some. Okay. Um, quick update that's going to lead into some other stories. In the Derek Chauvin trial for the murder of George Floyd, the prosecution kind of wrapped up their case with they put on multiple experts who testified that, because you know the defense is trying to do a character assassination. Oh, he was on drugs and this is this and this and that. Well, they put on experts that testified that although he did have opioids in his system, fentanyl, and methamphetamines, which I wish they would say, because they keep saying methamphetamines, and then the reporters, when they talk about it afterwards, they say methamphetamine. We're talking about ADHD meds, people. ADHD medications, people, and laypersons don't understand. So they're like, he was on meth. It's ADHD meds that was in his system. Okay, let's make that clear. And they're not making it clear. I think it's because they don't know. But they're saying, although he had these in his system, he did not even have enough for it to qualify as even being intoxicated from them. He had less than 90%, I believe the exact was 94% of those study subjects pulled over for DUIs. Okay, that's how the small amount of opioids and ADHD meds that he had in his system. This man was not intoxicated. 94% of people pulled over for DUIs have more of those drugs or drugs in general in their system. Technically, if he would not have been asleep in the car, because I was wondering, why was he asleep in the car? They're coming out there, they're asking about the counterfeit 20, he's falling asleep. And a witness that was in the car with him said he was exhausted, he was tired from work, and which matches with the testimony that he was not intoxicated. He literally could have driven off and they wouldn't have even been able to pull him over for a DUI. That's the small amount of substances that he had in his system. And I really wish that he would have just pulled off. Something else interesting that came up is that the police, when they woke him up, I didn't know he was asleep, first thing. This testimony came out at the end of the prosecution's case.
It always said he was asleep.
They woke him up with guns drawn.
Mm-hmm.
How is a person dangerous enough to wake them up with your gun drawn? He was asleep. It's ridiculous. Okay, so that leads me to the next story. Minnesota has had another shooting of a black male, a 20-year-old. The officer, Kim Potter, shot Dante Wright. And Stacy D, you let me know what your thoughts are on this. I see this situation as a little differently. One, she is saying that she shot him accidentally. She meant to tase him. When you look at the video, she had him outside the car handcuffed. Okay. In the video, he breaks free from the officer and gets back in the car. She is screaming, "I'll tase you, I will tase you." And then she pulls out the taser and she fires. He pulls off. She realizes, she's like, I shot him. Instead of pulling the taser, she pulled her gun. This woman's incompetent, okay? I'm not sure, because she kept screaming, "I will tase you, I will tase you." And it is being looked at as another blatant intentional murder of a Black man by a Minnesota police officer. But I think it's important that we be fair and objective, and that we don't get so caught up in our fight for justice and freedom from police officers murdering us in the streets that we don't look at the whole situation. This is a tragedy, that the incompetence of a police officer. This woman been on the police force like 26 years, 26-year veteran. She should know the difference between the taser and the gun. And so does she deserve to be held accountable? Yes, she does. But it does look like it was an accident from everything that she was saying beforehand, and even afterwards, her shock that she shot him. Also, we're in the middle of the Chauvin case. Psychologically, it does not make sense for a person to intentionally premeditate. I'm going to pretend that I was trying to pull my taser and pull my gun. Psychologically, it doesn't fit. It looks like it really was a mistake. And according to the Associated Press, he was being pulled over for a warrant for a previous incident of the police pulling him over. He had a gun without a permit, and the police they had gotten a call about a man waving a gun, and he fled from the police in that incident. And so that's why the warrant was out. So I can understand if this is the case, if she got the reports, because they do their background,
It comes
check
up,
and everything.
it comes on the air. When they run it, it'll either say handle this suspect, he's dangerous, he's always armed, he's a drug dealer. All that stuff comes through when they get everything. It comes through. Okay. Now I'm finna step in on that. Yeah, no, I don't really like getting in on these type of things because it messes with my inner soul. But 26 years, Gail, I do agree with you. She is the head of the police union. She's a veteran for 26 years. I do not believe it was an accident. But that's between her and her God, okay? Mm-hmm. With that, a taser and a gun feels totally different. Protocol is on your dominant hand is where you have your service gun, your dominant hand. Okay? Mm-hmm. That'll be my right hand.
Okay.
And she's right-handed. It's not like your taser and your gun is right here together. No. One's on one side and one's on the other side.
So you feel like she intentionally, because she's also a training officer and was training a rookie at the time. You feel like she did this on purpose, Stacy D? Like, you don't think it was an accident?
I don't think it was an accident.
It's premeditated murder.
I believe so. Okay. Back in the day, we about to go back in the day. We about to go into the 80s and the 90s, okay? Mm-hmm. I used to know a lot of police officers on both sides of the water, Kansas and Missouri. Actually, my cousin was a police officer, and he used to tell me like really crazy stories about how the white officers used to just come and harass. And we all know that was the start of the whole crack epidemic and all of that too. And when they used to mess with younger Black kids, it was something like, yeah, we're just getting them ready. So I just think their whole mindset, and that was 26 years ago, they're getting them ready. And I just think that, I'm going to even take it further back. Sometimes I get off the subject. When I was a young social worker at DCF, And I was like one of the few Black social workers there. And it used to be white social workers. This is just how deep it is. And when they would go into a Black home and take the families out, it would be like a little praise thing. We done did another one. Excuse me. What do you mean you did another one? Oh,
Right.
I'm sorry, Stacy. We didn't see you there. They just broke up another family. So I just really feel so that just trickles down to so many different aspects of our world. I do not think, I believe that she did that on purpose. You are a training. You are a trainer. You are a trainer. You train everybody else. So you let them know how important it is for you to always, you have to think at the drop of a hat, drop of a hat, drop of a hat. Like when I go bounty hunter, I have to drink at a drop of a hat, drop of a hat, drop of a hat.
Right.
And once again, your dominant side is your gun. Your left side is your taser. And that's just how we were trained. Mm-hmm. We get a small training from the police department on being a bounty hunter. And this is what happens.
Well, here's something interesting. A friend of ours sent a story that 10 years ago, they got some problems in Minnesota. 10 years ago, Minnesota police.
That's why they went and got that Black police chief, because they thought that was going to make everything good, because they got a brother up in there.
Well, 10 years ago, Minnesota police killed a mentally ill African-American male at the YMCA by the name of David Smith. What's interesting about that case is that they killed him in the same manner in which George Floyd was killed. I'm talking prone position, knee in his back, death by asphyxiation. In that case, the family was awarded $3 million in a civil suit, but the officers were never held accountable. A part of the settlement from that case 10 years ago was that Minnesota would provide training on the risks of positional asphyxiation when subjects are being held in the prone position. And so at this time, the attorney from that case has worked with the team of attorneys that handled the civil case for George Floyd's family. His position is 10 years ago, you all said that you was going to train your officers on this. And here, 10 years later, we have another man killed in the same manner. So on our Facebook page, I uploaded the video of that because it is eerily the same. So I don't know what the problem is with Minnesota. This is a lot for Minnesota. I mean, they need to do a complete overhaul. Something is desperately awry in Minnesota. So
well, I do want to add that they have started putting more African American and Hispanics in upper management seats in Minnesota. That's what they have done in the last 3 years. But they still have a whole lot cleanup to do. A whole lot of more cleanup to do.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just want to click on what Gail said. She policing is based in slavery recovery of runaway slaves. This is mentally still.
That's the mentality of the officers still. And I absolutely agree with what that listener is saying. And as I have said before, I don't think it's entirely about the race of the officers. I think that racism plays a role in it in many officers, but at the same time, we are having minority officers involved in these cases as well. So as I have said, if you get pulled over by a police officer or your child, please teach your kids, do not pay attention to the race of that officer. You need to see that officer as blue and be careful.
And
Okay.
And start videoing and call
Yes.
someone.
Yes. I do think that we as a people, when it comes to us fighting against these incidents, that we do have to be careful that we do not reduce the legitimacy of our fight by failing to look at every situation thoroughly. Your position, Stacy D, on this recent case is that she did it on purpose. My position is I feel that this case is different from the situation with George Floyd. I think it's different from the situation with the mentally ill man that was killed 10
Why do you
years
think
ago.
it's different? Because he already had a record?
I think it is, I feel like George Floyd, in every sense of the word, was a victim. They tried to assassinate his character. They tried to say he was high. They tried to say that he was resisting arrest, to be actively aggressive. That was not the case. He was exhibiting signs of having a panic attack. He was not intoxicated. I just see it differently than a case, and I am not by any stretch saying that this young man deserved what happened to him, because he didn't. I'm just saying that it is a different situation if there's a warrant for an arrest of someone who fled from police with a gun, and then they come across that gentleman and he was in the process of fleeing from that officer and made it into his car at the time that she tried to tase him, or, as you're saying, intentionally shot him. I always tell, here's my point. My point is, when I'm talking to young African-American males as well as females, I stress to them the importance of them conducting themselves in a manner where they do not, where a defense attorney cannot use their situation to set back the struggle for the elimination of police brutality. Because defense attorneys are manipulative. Like the defense is presenting its case in the Chauvin trial, I'm not even able to watch it, because defense attorneys, they lie, they manipulate, they twist the facts, they attempt to assassinate character. They are dishonest in how they do it. And so we really have to be on top of things. We have to be on our P's and Q's to reduce the amount of that they are able to do, because they're doing it against George Floyd, despite experts saying this man was not intoxicated, that he was not being aggressive, like in trying to resist. He was trying to breathe. And so those are my thoughts. What do you?
Okay, and once they start digging in this young man's life, guess what? He might have had some mental health issues too, and he was, and scared of the police.
And it needs to be taken into consideration. And people do not realize how often mental health is playing a part in this, and it gets overlooked. Even with George Floyd, they briefly talked about, well, he was exhibiting some anxiety. They never fully broke it down that the reason why he was saying he couldn't breathe was because he was having a panic attack when they first tried to put him in the car. So essentially, his mental health issue has been overlooked throughout the whole trial.
Exactly. And guess what? We already stepped on that 2 weeks ago.
Okay, let's get to the question of the day.
Question of the day.
Here is, and I'm gonna let you go first, Stacy D. I just wanted to say, when we get to the question of the day, You said you wanted to go first, Stacy D.
I know. I can't believe
Okay.
it.
When we get to the question of the day, for our listeners, whether you know, if you're listening on the radio or tune in, but for those of you who are watching a live viewing of the show on Facebook or some other social media, when we discuss anything that you think might potentially be helpful to someone else, please share it on your social media pages. Our goal in having the radio show is to reach all of those who will never enter into our offices to get this therapeutic information and this psychoeducation that we are providing. So if throughout the broadcast, if we say anything that you think might be helpful to someone else, please share it on your social media pages, because that's our goal. We're trying to share psychoeducation with the community. Okay. Stacy D, divided along political lines, should I remain friends with someone that I now view as a racist or supporter of racist views and perspectives? You want to take a shot at that question, Stacy D?
I think you should. And the reason, and this is the grown Stacy D talking.
Should what?
We should remain friends.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yes, but this is the grown Stacy D talking. Because you might be able to let them see other views. If you guys are really good friends and have a real good connection, you might be able to speak on the other way how it looks. You understand what I'm saying? So you might be another influence on them. They might have just had a very bad experience. And that's the reason why they are viewing things the way that they are viewing. But with you, it might change them up. And I just want to hit on racism. Racism is a prejudice, discrimination directed against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular race or ethnic group. Typically one that is the minority or the marginal. Okay? Now, can Black people be racism? Have racism? You think so? I think we can just
I
have
know some Black people who are racist.
I think we can just have a bias.
I know some Black people.
We don't have that much authority to have racism. But okay, so you know, I always got to be funny about something. Okay, hold on a minute. Let me show you something. Hey everybody, this is Sire.
Little Sire.
This is Sire. Sire is racist.
What? Does that dog attack white people?
Yes, he don't want no white people patting him, talking to him, or nothing. He will bite you.
Are you serious? Stacy D, how did your dog end up racist?
I have no idea, because you know I love everybody. But if you're Black and you say hi to him, yes, if you're Black and you say hi and you try to pat him, he's just going. But if you're white or you have too much bait, you might.
Oh my. You know what? Here's what it may be. Let's look at this psychologically. If you have had Sire since Sire was just a little pup, and Sire has not been exposed to other races, it could be Sire's ain't like, this does not look familiar to me. It's kind of like when I get clients in therapy who are from very small towns where there were no Black people, period. And they never saw a Black person till they moved to the city. But that goes along the line of, remember we talked about two types of racists. You got your ignorant racists and your evil, malicious racists. And so Sire just doesn't understand, like, where is the pigmentation issue. Sire
all the time. When he was a baby, he's an old man now. But when he was a baby, he was with me all the time. I had a Louis Vuitton purse that he got carried in.
was he exposed to
Mhm.
Caucasians
Mhm.
and he never liked them?
And he's white.
Researchers need to be
He can be
studying
he can
your
be racist
dog.
because he's white. He's with the majority.
You are just a mess, Stacy D. This is interesting.
But that was the
I'm
funny
not
part for us
kidding.
today. That was the funny part for us today.
Okay, because my dog growing up, we had a dog, Great Dane. He was fairly vicious, but my mother was a foster parent, and my mother wasn't like some foster parents who only take black kids. We had all races of kids. I grew up with all races of
On
kids
15th Street,
in our house. No, 33rd Street.
33rd. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I grew up behind Quindaro Park up in
Your
that
part.
area. And so our dog was accustomed to people of all races and never showed any disproportionate. He bit everybody.
He bit everything.
He bit everybody. This is interesting that the dog. Okay. I'm going to present a different perspective. Okay. I love it that we are seeing these things differently today, okay? Because some listeners are gonna be like, "I'm with Stacy D," and other listeners, "I'm with JP."
I have
Okay,
one that says we can be prejudiced. You're exactly right about racism.
that black people can't be racist.
Exactly.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Okay.
I believe anybody can be racist, and power. You have to think about the different levels of power and different forms that power can present itself in, as opposed to looking at just traditional power. I know black people who are not only racist, they proudly boast that they are racist,
Mm-hmm.
which half the time that's why they in therapy with me anyway. Okay.
With the black
My
community.
response to this is to the question, should I remain friends with someone that I now view as a racist or supporter of racist views or perspectives? My answer to that is no, absolutely not. Weed them out. Now, here's why.
Kicking the door down again. I thought I was the one to kick
Here I go.
the door down again.
ACD. Get rid of them. I'm going to tell you why. I feel, here are my points. One, because let's break it down. We're really talking about what has happened is people have found out that certain friends of theirs are Republican and have been voting along that party line, and what has caused friction amongst friends is finding out that their friends voted for Donald Trump and plan to vote for him again if he plans to run again, which he most likely will. And that has put a strain on relationships. Now, I hear what you're saying, Stacy D, that you can't really enlighten someone if you kick them to the curb. And I understand that. Here's my thoughts, though. One, the Republican Party has always been an enemy of the poor and the disenfranchised populations of the United States. But over the past 5 years, I feel like that the Republican Party has become unapologetically, they have unapologetically made it clear.
Okay. Stop. We are not talking about politics.
Yes, we are.
About racism. It has nothing to do with their political party.
Divided along political lines, should I remain friends with someone that I now view as a racist?
I forgot you had that in there.
Or supporter of racist views or perspectives, which means in support of either the Republican Party or Republican politicians, divided along political lines. And people are having, I myself have experienced it with some classmates who I never knew until they posted all their Trump support things. I never knew that these people were Trump supporters and that they would use the power of their vote to advance someone who's a blatant racist, and I'm just keeping it totally real, yes, that has caused me to look at them differently. And Nadine and I had a conversation about an old woman who we've known for years and helped her with some things, you know, as far as some family situations that she had, because, you know, she had some family members that were foster kids in our home. We did not know that this woman, it wasn't until Trump got in office that she started posting all of her support of Trump and racist views. And I'm not going to tell a lie. I look at this woman differently. Did I weed her out? No, I did not. Did I kick it to the curb? No, I did not. When she contacts me with seeking advice and guidance on different things for dealing with these children, I still continue to provide that. But I'm doing it from the perspective of, you know, I'm a therapist and I see racist people in therapy. I see white racist people in therapy.
Mr. Walker, is he really stuck?
You having a problem, Stacy D. Now, fix your Wi-Fi, okay? So,
my interconnects is unstable.
Here is, I feel like, you know, the Republican Party has made it clear that they are enemy of people of color, specifically Black people. Here's my next point, okay? The Republican Party and its candidates have exhibited blatant racism in their actions, policies, and voting patterns. For example, we have the situation, you know, in Georgia where they have their Election Integrity Act to suppress voting rights of African Americans. We have incidents like this congressman who is in trouble for sex trafficking underage girls. Donald Trump himself had a list of sexual assaults. Like, to me, if you support a party that engages in voter suppression, other racist acts, acts against women, misogyny, I find it hard to look at you as like we're friends. I don't associate with those kind of people. I don't hang out with those kind of people. I'm not comfortable inviting you over to my house for dinner if you are willing to take the power of your vote to vote someone into office knowing that their goal is to use their elected powers to oppress me and my people. That's not friendship. I look at a person differently for that. To me, that is a betrayal. You are not my damn friend if you support that.
Okay, so this is how I feel about it. Once again, I'm real big about these things. I don't think it makes a difference what party that you are registered as. I think you as a, let me think of the word, as a responsible voter, that you should look on how that person votes and how they see things and the betterment of what they want to do. Okay? I'm not going to say what party I am, but I am going to say that because I think that's private and that's my own business. But you have to figure out the person that you are voting for. Who do they stand on the same side of different things as you do? Now, that's what it means to be a responsible voter, for you to understand what you're voting for.
But that's not a division then. That's not a division. If I have a friend who is a Republican and they say, I'm a Republican, but the current state of the Republican Party, I do not support that. I do not support that this party has evolved into a party which is in support of blatant racism oppression and suppressing vote, all these different things. That's not a division, because even though they're Republican, and I know I have some friends who are Republican, but I can respect the fact that they're like, I'm not okay with that. I do not support that. You're divided along party lines when you have someone who says, I'm Republican and I vote the Republican ticket. Yes, I voted for Trump. Yes, I will vote for him again in the future.
They're not a responsible voter. They're not a responsible voter, because there's no way that you can vote the whole Republican ticket. There's no way. And everybody have the same views as you. There's no way.
A lot of these fools are not responsible voters, Stacy D. We ended up with a blatant village idiot in the presidency. Obviously, we are not talking about responsible voters. Any Republican out there who is listening to me right now and you voted Republican, I am saying you are not under the definition that Stacy D is presenting as a responsible voter, or you are a blatant, unapologetic racist.
Okay,
and you are using your vote.
Time out.
What, Stacy D?
Time out for you, because we have something in the chat. Because we're already going to start working our chat better. And people, please give me a code word for Gerald. We have someone in the chat that says there is a large segment of Black people voting for Republicans based on abortion and family values. I agree.
Here's my problem with that. It's the same as Black people voting Republican because now that they have reached a certain level of success and they want to hold on to their money. And so they don't believe in various taxation laws. So they're like, well, now I'm voting Republican because I'm paying too much taxes. Yeah, but back in the day when you was broke, you was a Democrat. But now that you have money, you're going to abandon Democratic policies that are in place to support disenfranchised people, people living below the poverty level, because you want to hold on to your money. That's a sellout. And I can understand having your views on abortion, but if you vote along that ticket, knowing that when they get in office, they are going to use their political power to oppress our people, that is a problem. When you look at how Congress votes, for example,
you can look at some of the Democrats, they don't do right by things neither. They have problems with extorting money and all that. I mean, the bottom line is it's people, and we just need to be more responsible in our voting tactics.
I'm saying this. I can understand it's a choice, one thing over the other. I can understand if you feel like the Republican Party has a stance on abortion that you support, but to support it to the extent of electing them into office, knowing that, yes, you're going to agree with everything that they have to say about abortion, but at the same time, they are actively working to oppress our people. How do you vote for that? How do you choose your stance on abortion over the oppression of your own people? That is selling out. I don't care how people want to look at it. You have sold out your people when you choose your abortion stance over the oppression of your people. Because when congressmen vote, they stick to it. They may say, you know what, I'm not in support of Trump, but when it came time for the impeachment vote, what did 98% of them vote for? They voted against it. And if he runs for office again, they're going to vote for him to come back into office. I don't feel like, as a people, I don't feel like we should choose our desire to hold on to our money. Hell, Oprah's a billionaire. She's not running around supporting Republicans, and she got way more money to hold on to than the average voter walking into the voting offices here in this country. Okay, there are many millionaires who vote along Democratic lines because, regardless of the fact that they they don't want to pay a whole bunch of money in taxes either, but they don't want to support a party that is going to make life difficult for poor people, for women, for Black people. No, that's selling out.
But do you know a lot of people that were voting? A lot of them that yes, and we're about to head to there in just a few minutes. A lot of people who voted Republican were not rich.
No, a lot of them was broke, poor hillbillies who, even though they voted Republicans in the Congress who voted against that stimulus package, they cashed those checks. They benefit from Democratic Party policy.
A lot of people that got the stimulus checks should not have gotten stimulus checks.
The majority of the people on welfare. We do
have, and the views that are being stated right now are not the views of KUAW radio. How about that? But we do have a minority business in the waiting room. We have Spirit, and look at our shirts, you guys. Look.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. These are so nice. Thank you so much. We have Deborah. Come on the line. Let us know about Spirit Apparel. Here she comes. Because guess what? We could have kept on letting Gerald talk and Spirit Apparel would have never got on.
Because I'm all worked up.
We know. Cheesecake Factory will fix that though.
Can she hear us? Debbie, you need to turn your mic on and your camera on.
There she is.
There we go. Hello, Debbie. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for coming on the show today.
No problem. My pleasure.
So I want to first say, I'm JP Craddock. I want to first say, I love the t-shirt.
Oh, thank you.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay. And I was wondering, are you able to also put like pictures on shirts?
Oh, yeah.
Like I can do images?
Yes, I can.
Okay. This is wonderful. So tell us about Spirit Life Apparel and screen printing.
Spirit Life Apparel and screen printing. I just rebranded myself. So my name used to be 24/7 Spirit and Sportswear. And I just rebranded myself a couple of years ago to Spirit Life. I've been in business for 11 years. I started off at home and I grew and grew and grew by God's grace and blessing. And now I am located off of I-35 and Johnson Drive, where I also make shirts here, production, along with doing various other things, print and sip parties. It's like a paint and sip, but it's print and sip because you're making shirts. So you could bring, your friends, family, or just, your boo thing. Y'all could just do something different. Then also I have like a event side where you can have a small gathering, birthday party, shower, different things like that. So, and I make everything from apparel, t-shirts to banners, branding, promotional things, just a little bit of everything. And I also do embroidery. So
can you do a cutouts?
Cutouts on what?
Like me.
Oh, if you want me to, I sure will.
What do you mean, Stacy D?
Like when we get ready to have our red table discussion, I think we need a life-size cutout poster of you and I.
Yeah.
Oh, you do that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you do more than just you do posters and all of these different things.
Yes,
Banners.
Banners, invitations. I do just everything. I'm your one-stop shop.
One stop.
Right. Everything's right here.
I'm really excited about my cutout. I think I'm about to get one for King, so he can just carry it with him at all times.
I know that's right.
Okay, so give us the address for the store again and any website information.
My address is 5925 IKEA Way. I'm right, Merriam, Kansas. I'm located right off of I-35 and Johnson Drive, right directly across from IKEA. My website is spiritlifegear.com. And if you go to my website, you'll see everything that I do, along with upcoming events and, purchase. You can shop online, just, everything.
And do you have social media pages as well?
Yeah, Facebook, Spirit Life Apparel, and screen printing, and Instagram, Spirit Life Gear.
Okay, great.
And LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn too.
Okay, great. Are there any current promotions or anything that you would like for our listeners to know about?
Yeah, May the 1st, I'm having a grand reopening. Stacy was laughing at me when I said that. A grand reopening. That's the weekend, May the 1st and 2nd. We'll be having, of course, different sales, various sales. I'm gonna be hitting y'all up with I might be doing a $5 sale. So y'all have, but it's going to be a small window of that time. I'm gonna be doing print and sip. I'm gonna have vendors and games and raffles going on. And then May the 8th, I'm having print and sip, and it's gonna be celebrating Queen's Day, celebrating our moms and stuff, mother. So yeah, get your mom, your wife, bring her out, and we're gonna be making some cool apparel that day. And then also I'm be having a sale on all the Mother Days, like volleyball mom, football mom, all those kind of shirts are going to be on sale. And then May the 22nd and 23rd, I'm gonna have a vendor event. And I don't know, I don't think Stacy, did you make it by for the vendors?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
So if anybody is interested and they sell, like maybe they work out their home and sell stuff, this is a good opportunity for them to come out and have their customers to come to the event or have a pop-up shop at my space. Yeah, they can have a pop-up shop and have all their customers to come and visit. And not only could they visit with them, but they can network with one another. And then the 29th, this is when it's going to be off the chain. We're going to have a print and sip, and it's called Groove City. And it's going to be geared towards two-steppers or those that like it.
Not 8 count no more, y'all. I'm in the two-stepper club.
Yeah, so we're going to have two-steppers. We're going to have a couple, maybe 3 couples, that spotlight stepping. And then we also going to be doing print and sip. And I'm going to have a DJ here and possibly the daiquiri shop. We haven't figured it out quite yet if they will be able to be available, but it's BYOB anyway. So all the print and sips are BYOB.
Debbie, thank you so much for coming on the show. To all of our listeners, Spirit Life Apparel and Screen Printing to get all your printing needs met. Yes. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And you will be hearing from me because I'm loving our t-shirt. Okay. So I'm ordering some t-shirts with our images on them. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And remember, worry about nothing.
And pray about everything. And like us and share us on Facebook and Instagram.
God bless and take care.
All right.
Bye. Bye-bye now. heavy. I can't